Hello doll friends! Welcome back to Lady Dynamite Creates. I'm Tiffany and today we're adding another ghoul to my Chibi Monster High series. This time it's none other than the Queen of Confidence herself, Cleo de Nile. Let's get started. I'm using the Dolly Geeks Anime Chibi BJD as my base, and even though it wasn't totally necessary, I wanted to give Cleo her own unique sculpt just like I did with the rest of the ghouls. I actually didn't record the sculpting this time because I really wanted to focus on getting her expression just right. I was going for that haughty sneer that always makes her look just a bit unimpressed with everyone around her. It definitely took a few tries, but I'm really happy with where I landed. I think it captures her personality perfectly, and of course I couldn't resist sculpting a few bandages too. Now that the 3D model is finished, I head downstairs to mix up what I hope will be the perfect skin tone. I'm mostly trying to use up leftover resin, so this ends up being a bit of a custom blend. I start with the leftover Pam 10 resin from Claudine, then mix in some Dollmaker resin, and then a little bit more here and there until it looks just right. Then it's over to the printer to fill the vat and let the machine do its thing. A few hours later, the print is finished and thankfully it came out flawless. Looking at it in person though, I realized the skin tone isn't quite where I wanted it. Luckily, that's an easy fix later with some pastels. Back upstairs, it's time to start the wig. I create the wig cap using layers of cling film, stretchy fabric, and glue. Once the glue dries, it forms a nice sturdy shell that I can trim to shape, paint to match the hair, and then start covering with yarn wefts. When I get to the parting line, I glue one weft in the opposite direction so I can fold it over and hide all of the glue underneath before I fill in the rest with wefts. Once everything is dry, it's time for the terrifying part, the haircut. My motto is always to sneak up on the final length because you can always trim more off, but once it's too short, you're making a whole new wig. Next up is the outfit. For the top, I wanted a bandeau that hints at mummy wrappings without making them the entire design. To get that look, I glued thin ribbons onto my mannequin one at a time, while keeping in mind the finished shape and where I'm going to hide all the seams. Once all the ribbons are attached, I can peel the top right off thanks to the cling film underneath, trim away the extra material, and add a magnetic closure to the back. For the skirt, well, I forgot to record it because this was actually my third attempt. So here's what I did. I sewed a rectangle of fabric into a tube, then folded that tube in on itself until the raw edges lined up. Then I sew around the edge, and I leave a small little opening so that I could turn it all right side out before hand sewing that little part closed. This method kept the fabric nice and stretchy while giving me a clean finish on the edge. The finished skirt turned out so cute, and I love how nicely it hugs her body. I styled it with a few soft folds to give it a little bit more movement and visual interest. Here is one of my earlier attempts. I tried using hem tape, but you can see the heat from the iron dulled the fabric into a really ugly color, so that idea got scrapped pretty quickly. Now it's time for accessories, which means lots of 3D modeling. I designed some strappy ankh shoes and a scarab for the belt. I actually printed the scarab in 3 different sizes because I wasn't sure which would look best. In the end, I liked the largest one for the front, although I already have plans for the other 2. For the apron portion of the belt, I designed a graphic that I cut from gold iron-on vinyl. I press the vinyl onto a thick ribbon with my flat iron, I trim away the excess, and the vinyl actually helps seal the edges so the ribbon doesn't fray. Then I can finally start assembling everything. First, I glue on the painted scarab and then all of the looping ribbon details. It sounds simple enough, but this belt took forever because I kept accidentally gluing it to my fingers. Once all the loops are in place, I add another scarab where everything crosses in the back. Then I glue the whole thing onto the skirt with fabric glue. I originally wanted the belt to be removable, but it sat too far away from her body, so permanent it is. For the headdress, I designed a few versions before deciding I liked this lighter, more open design best. After printing and painting it gold, I started adding the draping chains with UV resin before finishing it off with a few rhinestones in the snake's eyes and some at the connection points. By the way, the little snake head came from an adorable file on printables, and I'll leave the link for it below. A huge thank you to all of my amazing Patreon supporters. Your encouragement and support means more than I can say. Thank you for helping me make these projects possible and for inspiring me to keep creating and sharing what I love. Angel Book Walter, Awkward Burb, Katie Lee, Cozy Cat, Deborah Sweeney, Jazer, Wednesday, Dancing Johari, Port Charlatan, Abrielle Thomas, Alan Daria, Kitsy, The Oak Magpie, Tara N. Now for the face up. Since this sculpt has an open mouth, I jump into painting the mouth and teeth first with acrylics before sealing everything with Mr. Super Clear. Because the resin color wasn't exactly what I had in mind, I used a custom mixed pastel to warm it up into more of that sun-kissed tone I associate with Cleo. I used some sticky tack in the mouth to mask it off and then begin layering on that custom blend. I also add in some spots of blue, yellow, and pink to give the surface some depth. Once I was satisfied with a new color, I can apply another layer of Mr. Super Clear and remove the sticky tack and start tackling the details of the face up. The overall direction I wanted from my version of Cleo was Egyptian princess first, mummy second. I feel like some of her earlier designs lead so heavily into the bandages that they became her entire outfit. Don't get me wrong, they're such an iconic part of who Cleo is, and I definitely wanted to include them. I just wanted them to feel more like just an element of the design instead of the whole design. When I think of Cleo, I think of gold jewelry, rich blues and turquoise, scarabs, ankhs, and all the regal details that make her feel like ancient royalty. She's confident and glamorous and a little dramatic, so I wanted her outfit to reflect that side of her personality as much as her mummy heritage. That's why I leaned into the layered accessories, the gold accents, and a silhouette that feels more elegant than wrapped up. I think some of the more recent G1 and G3 releases have done a much better job at balancing those two sides of her character. They still include the bandages, but they also let the Egyptian inspiration really shine through. Cleo should feel like an ancient princess who just happens to be a mummy, rather than a mummy who's dressed like an Egyptian princess. That's the balance I was hoping to capture with this chibi version. I'm curious, do you prefer Cleo's designs when they lean more heavily into her mummy side, or when they focus more on her ancient Egyptian royalty? Let me know, because I'd love to hear how you see her character. Once the makeup was complete, I knew I'd made the right choice using the Eye of Horus makeup from the Boo York look. I've always preferred it over her standard liner, and it feels so much more dramatic and really suits the regal look I was going for. Now it's time to color correct the body. These are the pan pastels I mixed together to get Cleo's custom skin tone. One of the things I love about pan pastels is how quickly they build up. Honestly, it took a single layer to get that color where I wanted it. You can really see the difference just one layer makes. With that finished, I can paint the bandages. I start with a medium toned base color, and once that's dry, I grab a tiny brush and carefully paint a darker brown into all of the creases. The deeper folds get the darkest color, while the shallow ones stay a little softer. Then I finished everything off with a light dry brushing to catch the raised edges. It's such a simple painting process, but it really brings all those sculpted details to life, and I absolutely love how it turned out. Now it's finally time to make her eyes. I start by painting the whites, then slowly build up those gorgeous turquoise shades that make Cleo's eyes so recognizable. For the catch lights, I decided to use little ankhs. I honestly wasn't sure they'd be visible enough, but once everything came together, I ended up loving how subtle they were. A dusting of sparkling mica powder and a dome of UV resin later, and they're finished. Chibi Cleo de Nile is officially complete, and honestly couldn't be happier with how she turned out. That little haughty expression is exactly what I was hoping for. It gives her just enough attitude while still keeping all the cute chibi charm. Cleo has already found her forever home with one of my Patreon supporters during early access, but if you'd like to see more of my dolls and other goodies, you can always check out my Etsy shop. Thank you so much for spending part of your day creating with me. Whether you leave a comment, hit the like button, or simply watch my videos, it truly means more than you know. Until next time, remember, always be creating.